we still got some room. This is a feast and you know, get full. Let's start with Jane Cortez. I can't tell you how many times I'd be with my father, you know how it is, and you're talking, and then they say, you don't know? And I'm so thankful for Jane Cortez for writing this poem, you know, for the people who speak the you-know language. You know, I sure would like to write a blues, you know, a nice long blues, you know, a good feeling piece to my writing hand, you know, my hand that can bring two pieces of life together in your ear, you know, one drop of blues turning a paper clip into three wings and a bone into a revolt. You know, blues passing up stereotype symbols, you know, going into the dark meat of the crocodile and pinpoint the process, you know, into a solo 100 times like the first line of Aretha Franklin. You know, like Big Mama Thornton. You know, I sure would like to write a blues. You know, if I could write me a blues, you know, a blues you could feel all at the same time, on the same level like a Joe Louis punch. You know, a punch that could break a computer into an event like Guinea-Bissau. You know, if I could write me a blues, you know, a nice long blues, you know, and up to the minute blues, you know, a snap dab in the middle of depression blues, you know, a blues without incidental music, you know, without spending time being incidental, you know. If I could write a blues, you know, a blues without popular use of the word love, you know, without running love, love, love into the ground, you know, a serious blues, you know, a significant blues, you know, an unsubmissive blues, you know, or just because we exist blues, you know, a blues, you know, a blues about the terrible, terrible need I have to write the blues. You know, if I could write a nice long blues, you know, a nice long blues, you know, it sure would feel good to my writing hand. You know, you know, you know. So I'm doing, I think, 3 pieces. This first one I'm doing because Kevin and I separately have just survived COVID. And some of you may have had it. This is my COVID poem. COVID relationships. For 4 years, COVID and I had such a nice relationship. I stayed away from it. It stayed away from me. I don't know why it decided it wanted to get to know me. There's some value in long-distance relationships. I read about it and even looked at pictures of it from afar. Pictures of me and my writings were readily available in a myriad of outlets. I mean, we had years of appropriate social distancing. It was a very healthy relationship, if I do say so myself. But then it comes into my home uninvited, gives me a claws-out bear hug, and starts chewing on me as if I was a salmon swimming upstream to be sacrificed. It insisted on sleeping with me in my bed, sticking its thorny fingers into my bones and trying to play its loud, discordant music on my tendons like they were stretched lamb guts pulled taut on an upright base. And then, despite my preference for clean, dry sheets as my only bedclothes, it wanted me to wear an undersized helmet made from its thorny branches, whose tight fit turned my eyes red and made salty tears flow. So what could I do but turn my back on it, sip my ginger lemon tea without offering it one sip, savor my daughter's love-infused turkey soup, laced with cayenne pepper that battled with COVID, and smack my lips as COVID got weaker and weaker, finally slinking out my front door. And now we're back to what I consider an amicable relationship. I stay away from it, and it damn well better stay away from me. Literally fresh off. Okay, so I have this Osage poet friend who's he's a poet, he's a painter, and of course he speaks his language. And so he says, we're talking, he says to me, how old is your language? And I'm like, not as old as yours. But then I came up with this poem. How old is your language, he asks, and pauses for answers that will not come to tongue. My language of memories is buried in bone marrow, spilling out in blood, rich with copper, salt, and ancestor breath. My language of touch was inherited from the first ones who tasted green, swallowed night, and learned by stroke and need to know each other. My language of dance, choreographed on waves and shuddering meadow grasses, now rest in lamp-lit shadows. And my language of speech is words welded and wielded around the globe, a language of jazz and goobers, okra and okay openings, the wow of Africa, while Hindi lies with Norse and German is a bedfellow of Latin. A trade language, English, smelted by a people committed to war and domination. My language bends and recreates itself, claims a lineage measured across light years of knowing, forgetting and learning once again. So I must say, I mean, I just wrote the COVID poem. Now I mostly write, but I wrote this poem at a time when I wasn't writing, and I thought, you know, you are what you do most of the time, so if you're not writing, you're not a writer. I mean, you know, maybe you were a writer, maybe you will be a writer again. You know, you're not. So because I didn't want that to, you know, get out, I said, okay, I'm going to go upstairs, and I'm just going to write a list of all the reasons I'm not writing, because there are really some good reasons I'm not writing. This is my poem called Writer. I don't write because it's the end of the day and I'm simply too tired. I don't write because it's the beginning of the day and I'm not yet fully awake. I don't write because it's the middle of the day and many other things are far more pressing. I don't write because I've got ironing to do and the kitchen floor needs waxing and the turtle needs food. I don't write because I can only write on the computer and it's down. I don't write because I decided to compose only by hand and my favorite pen has no ink. I don't write because the last thing was so bad and I'm condemned to repeat it always. I don't write because the last thing was so fine, and why write if I can't excel or at least match it? I don't write because no stranger has recently written to inform me they're willing to buy something I already wrote when I was writing, which I don't do anymore. I don't write because everyone writes better than me except for those who write less well, and they are very poor writers, and therefore do not count in any computation. I don't write because my writing is too black. I don't write because my writing's not ethnic enough. I don't write because getting up or down to it requires passing through an unbridled moment of nausea, followed by a dry waste of terror saddled with a racing heartbeat and held breath tension. I don't write because I'm unwilling to do enough dope or drink enough liquor to make it a truly metaphysical experience. I don't write because it takes practice, which makes perfect. And one thing I have learned, although I keep scaling the mountain, is that I will never be perfect. I don't write because if I did, I would feel so much better about everything and thus have less to complain about and then have less about which to write. I don't write because, what the hell, it's an anachronistic form of communication. And if I can't make a popular recording or better yet a film, why bother? I don't write because there's nothing new under the sun, everything's already been said, no one wants to hear it, and I can't find a newer and better cliche. I don't write because I don't want to write any more poems about dying babies. I don't want them to read their bones pushing up the corners of my futon, or to hear bullets of the night whizzing into my eardrums as they whine and search my thick, dry breasts for milk. I am tired of their bloated bellies filling my dreams as they reach with truncated arms towards my heart and tearless beg me to find a line, a verse for them, the harmless. I don't want to write about dead babies anymore. to look at their palms so small, held up against mine, measured in the years of growing, their skin soft and brown before it peels back and writhes from the chemicals of adult manias. I want to write love songs, those sweet ballads about moons that stay full past dawn and rivers which never dry and roses whose scent remains in your memory for 100 promises. I want to write of hard thighs, strong backs, moist meetings of passion, starburst and gypsy songs. No more dying children, torn from my womb, split open day after day. I don't want to write because it hurts. Again and again, and they keep coming, asking for help, and I hand them words, prayers. How many pet names I have for those children, even the ones who could not speak to me. How many names for muffins, dumplings, biscuits, blossoms, rosebuds, saplings. The babies who remained unnamed, graves being dug for them even as they clung to their mothers. Babies too brown, too poor, too full of an unfilled promise of a richer tomorrow. I don't want to write poems about any more dying children. But they keep on dying, and the poems keep coming. My womb is round and full with their songs, so I won't write. I don't write. I don't write, I write, I don't write, I write, I won't write, I write, I write, I write, I write more.